Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I'm Chris.
I'm Audra.
I'm Lourdes.
I'm Tony Rathman. And boy, is it hot in Arizona.
I can't take this heat no more.
Yeah, Mondays suck.
Yeah.
Not allowed to say
Right.
I've heard.
Did I miss anything? I spent the last 4,200 years editing documentaries. Working on. Hey, the documentary launched this past weekend, and he did a bang-up job.
Yeah.
He
It
did.
was fantastic. That's hard work. We thank him and love him for it. Being Tony Rathman is not the easiest thing to do. I could pretend to be it on TV here, but
Yeah, it was.
you already know who I am. I'm Yavakati.
And Yavakati.
Give me just a second, y'all. Apparently, StreamYard has kicked us from every group that we were connected to on Facebook. So now I've got to share it all. So give me a minute for some technical difficulties.
No problem. Yeah, I'm sharing it too. I know that our producer, Ray Hobbs, had a family emergency, so he's not with us tonight, unfortunately. Tony and Cherie had each had something come up, so that is why they're not here tonight. But you know, the show goes on. We've done it. We've done it without them. We've done it without you guys. You've done it without us.
Absolutely.
It's never as good without the six of us for us, because we love the interaction, and this is why we've spent over 3 years doing this.
Now, can you believe it's been that long?
Yeah,
Right?
right. It has been quite some time, but that is why. So they are missed tonight, but we will try to do them proud, or he'll edit us out of this.
One of the two.
One of the two.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. It's amazing to find a group of people like us that can tolerate us.
That's a very good point.
That is a very good point.
Us
I am both in agreement and offended at the same time by both you and me. And you.
And you and you and you.
What did I do?
It's nice to be back. Nice to see you guys. We have a very fun show tonight. We're flipping the script on somebody who does their own show.
Yeah.
Who we've all been on the show with before. And she's a sweetheart of a person. We like her. We love her.
She's a little witchy, though.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, she's a
Yeah,
little
we need to
witchy.
point that out. Yeah. This is a pointed hat intervention.
Pointed hat intervention. Yes, it is. It's got a few broomsticks involved in there.
It does.
We're not going to say where they're placed, but we're just going to say they're there.
Well, that's
Sounds like a.
yeah. We have an imagined audience.
Yeah,
let's
say hello once more. She's been on the show before.
Yeah.
Maureen Grudzinski.
Yeah.
Dimensions of
Welcome.
Thank
Supernatural.
you. It's great to be
Oh,
here.
God, there's my one screw up for the night.
You
Little
guys have a
Witchy.
great comment section.
We do?
You do. Chris Noira,
Chris,
Becca.
yeah.
My co-host is here.
Anthony.
Your co-host. Can we?
Mr. Forget About It?
Yeah. Can we just get the homage over with now? Everybody on the count of three. I don't know where I am.
And how you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Anthony
Thank you guys
Seminelli.
for having me.
Yes, of course, our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
For our audience, really quick, I know there's a ton of people here to see Maureen. I just want to say I apologize in advance when Tony and Cherie are with us, they're the ones popping up your comments and your questions and stuff. And when they're not here and I'm doing all the evidence, it's me. So I might miss some stuff. I might not. Who knows?
It's funny you should say that, because when we have our podcast going, not only am I speaking to the guests, but I'm also commenting, and you'll see it come up 7,000 times. It's because we are not only on Dimensions of the Supernatural, but we broadcast on A Lil Witchy, Seekers Club of the Paranormal, EV3 TV, my own Facebook page, Anthony's page, like everywhere you could possibly have that out there. I have to get the UK. Hey, Anthony.
There he is.
Hi, Roger. Hey, everybody. I don't know a lot of these people because sometimes they show up as a Facebook user.
Right.
So please tell us when you're with us.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Chris Nuara. Also, Ari Spence is watching. We saw Melissa, Karen, Anthony Simonelli, which is nice. I think you guys have built a nice friendship and a nice rapport. We were at Anthony's birthday out at his home in the Poconos. You and your husband Todd came out. And you guys have developed, I think, a nice partnership on the show. I mean, just like us, when you start out, you know each other, but you don't mesh at that level yet. But the longer you do it, you find that. And you guys have developed a nice on-air rapport. You've had some great guests on your show, especially those two over there.
And
Both of you couples have been on, and you were all great.
We have been. And we also thank you, because you've mentioned Staticom and what Tony and Cherie and Lourdes and I do. And you've mentioned Chris and Audra as well on the show, probably more times than we've said it on our own show.
We joke that we're going to start a drinking game where we have to do a shot every time Anthony brings up Ron and Lourdes.
Well, you're going to be creating alcoholism across the interwebs.
But everyone, make sure to watch this Thursday, because we have...
Yep.
Where am I?
See?
Chris Yay.
And I love that, because Chris is one of them people who's always on the show talking about Paraunity, what it actually is. It's more than just something you would write on a paranormal Hallmark card. And this is a prime example of it. We have a fantastic guest on our show who has her own show. You guys are guesting on that show that night. And absolutely, we encourage people to watch it, because you and Anthony do a great job. And Chris and Audra
are great guests.
Are fantastic guests. And I think it's really cool for you guys to have them on and let them talk to, because they add an element to our team outside of the whole Staticom thing with what they do and how gifted they are. And that's exciting for me to see people also learn about that. And two of the best people we've ever met.
Yep.
So
You guys are all awesome. And here's the thing. You're great guests because you know your stuff. You've been doing this for a while. I mean, like a long while. Not that I'm not going to put age out there. But this one right here, he tends to fall asleep. But you guys are great. And I love you all, your family. So anyone who would like to be a guest on our show, we do have dates available. We're like booked through September. But we have like 2 dates that are missing. So if anybody would like to be a guest, please, contact me or contact Anthony, obviously. We do like to have fun on our show, and we do like to have different things.
He does.
I don't, Anthony, but we like to have fun, and we like to teach people. We like the education part of the paranormal world. That was not nice, Gio.
That was funny. It's actually quite funny.
I really like to have really different topics. That's my cat, by the way. She likes to visit. She's a pop-in. I like to educate.
Technically, that's your cat's ass.
It's actually her back.
Okay.
But
wow. Yeah.
I think it's important to know that we have, psychic mediums like myself, or, paranormal investigators, or like one topic. I like to talk about different religions and different I'll try. Just different things all the way around. So, because I think people have a perception of what certain things are. And like, say, for instance, if we talk about Satanism, they think, oh, those Satanisms, they are, baby killers or whatever the case may be. I think it's important to ask questions and find things out and know about them. And, if that's what it is at the end of the podcast and that's what they find out, then that's what they find out. But at least to find out what the specifics are behind the religion. So I would like to get, like a rudimentary crash course on a little bit of everything.
Yeah, no, that's. I think that there's a responsibility because there's a lot of people in the field, and nobody is required to be on camera talking about anything. You do it because you want to. You have opportunity to. But with that, I think comes a responsibility to at least have a level of integrity and to educate yourself as much as possible. Reserve the right to be wrong, because you may say something today and learn tomorrow that it's not, and that's okay. But at least if you put your best foot forward and you treat self and others with due respect, that's important. And the other side of it you mentioned, I think, is great, is an entertainment value to it as well. This is a show. I've heard that once before where it was like, we had one show, we were a little off the deep end with fun. It was like, too much fun, not enough theory and stuff. But I mean, it's not a TED Talk either. And I think if people watch Dimensions of the Supernatural, they will see an element of levity and humor to it that is not out of balance with also information and the interview part of it. And that's important because it's a show.
Right. It is.
It could be balanced. I mean, nothing has to be dry and serious. And
dry and serious puts the audience to sleep no matter how old they are, for one. And for two, we like on our show is to give you who we are.
Right.
And if I didn't present myself as a smartass, I would be falsely representing myself.
Same.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. And see, I love this. See Tammy Lee's comment. This is a field where we're always learning, and I love that.
Yes.
Yes. Honesty, integrity for a geo. Yes, there's her comment too. And these are the kind of people we attract, and we love that because that is also important too. I always say that, like even with the whole Staticom thing with Tony, I am as much his student as I am his teacher. He's helped me with stuff. I've helped him with stuff. That's how it works. She's taught me stuff. I've taught her stuff. This is not a grappling for status kind of an endeavor. This is, we're all trying to learn. And if you don't know more than you knew yesterday, then you're doing something wrong.
Right. That's
right. Yeah, and Tammy's actually a very good friend of mine, and we've gotten a lot closer. She is actually, I guess I can announce this now. So as of today, I'm no longer affiliated with Dark Echoes Paranormal Show in any way. And I'd like to announce that Anthony Simonelli, my co-host, and my work husband, and Tammy Lee and I, we have decided that we are going to start our own production company. And terrible time to get involved here.
It's a podcast. It's a podcast.
So we're going to start our own production company, and we will be starting our own paranormal TV show.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Hey, good for you.
That's exciting.
Look at Maureen's
cool.
like, Maureen's like, I'm going to get shameless plugs in during the whole damn show.
That's right. No waiting to the end part.
I know how to work it. So we'll probably be bringing in like celebrity guests, and we will have we'll be asking people. Thank you. So we'll be bringing people in from all over, the paranormal community, asking them to come and help with us, and we'll have family helping with us. And we really want this to be what true para-unity is. We want, we'll be asking you guys to come out and help, and we'll be going to some of like the most amazing locations. Glow and Grow Girl, love you too. So we really love what we do, and we want it to be, drama free. We want to have a great time. We just, we want it to be fun. We want to go to amazing locations, places we've never been before, and we just want to get out there and do it.
Yeah, look at that. Chris is
He's the one.
That's Chris's version of "I know where I am," and I want you in that space.
I thought that was more like.
No, I know where I am, and I know where to take you.
If you build it, we will come.
Right.
It's built, so get your butt here.
It's been built for almost 200 years. There you
So
go.
everybody out there, reach out.
Oh God, Roger. Oh God, Christoph. Oh, God.
Funny.
He is funny. And he did a fantastic job too. He gave us a testimonial for the docuseries. It was great. We have a fantastic audience, so hopefully, and we'll encourage this for these people to also tune in on Thursday nights to watch you and Anthony on Dimensions of the Supernatural. So I know Chris is going to do it, but let's start out. I think for people who don't know you, right, Chris? Don't we want to know how did Maureen and the purple hair and the stylish glasses get into this field of hunting day ghosts?
Well, I'm old. That's why I'm wearing these, because I have my contacts in and I can't see close up now. So I was really little and I had abilities since then. And I remember having what I call the watchers standing around my bed. I plugged in a nightlight and only plugged one part of it into the wall and the other was on my thumb, and I was zapped and it singed my skin. My parents were out on the porch and one of the watchers had its hand on my shoulder and it didn't let me get hurt. I didn't feel it. It was talking to me here, not here. And they always protected me. I have been in countless car accidents, near-death experiences. I was perfectly fine. I have died twice. The first time was while I was very sick with a very high fever. And I literally had the long hallway with the hands reaching out to grab me. It was very dark. And I had 3 family members standing at the end talking about me. I can only see the shapes of them. Could not see their faces, what they were wearing, but I knew who they were based on what they were talking about and what they were saying to each other. So, the female kept saying that I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't supposed to be there and to let me go back. And the 2 men were arguing with her over the fact that they had never met me. They wanted to have more of me, that they loved me so much. And I was such a joy to watch. One was my grandfather, one was my great uncle, and the woman was my great grandmother. So I kind of got sucked back out. And I guess my fever broke because I was sweating profusely. And it was kind of a scary thing. I was only about 15. The second time I went in for surgery, and I have something called dysautonomia. It's like a fight or flight response. And all your uncontrollable systems either are heightened or lowered, and you don't have control over it. So there's blackouts, your temperature can't be regulated, but it started to shut all my organs down. So I have multi-system atrophy. They were doing kidney biopsy. I was face down. My heart rate was very low when I first went in, just to start. And so was my blood pressure. I filled them in on it, and the doctor and the nurse actually asked me what dysautonomia was. I knew that it was going to be a problem right off the bat when they asked that. They put you through a CAT scan machine so they can watch where the needle with the clamp to pull the pieces out, where it was going. So she said, the nurse said to me, I'm going to administer anesthesia, and I'm going to start it slowly. And as soon as she started to do that, anesthesia can either go 2 ways. You can be like sky high and never come down from it, or you can die. She started to administer it, and immediately I watched as the numbers started dropping even lower than it was. And when I say low, I think my heart rate was at like a 49 to start. Ooh. And my blood pressure was around a 92 over a 63 or something like that. Drop. My heart, you could hear the machine starting to beat slower. And then all of a sudden, I felt like a black velvety blanket drop over me. And I heard beep, and it went slower and it faded away more and more. And then all of a sudden, I heard everybody running around, and it got quiet, but I could hear them all running around talking to each other. And it sounded frenzied and frenetic, but it seemed really far away. And the weird thing, and I didn't realize this until not so long ago, because someone asked me how I felt about churches, because I am a witch and I'm not Wiccan. I take bits and pieces from every religion and kind of mash them all together because I love what's beautiful about every religion. Churches always kind of creeped me out because I didn't like the feeling of being in them and being shoved into a mass and being forced to go to church. But I love sitting in churches when they're quiet and peaceful. My mother dragged me into church, and I'd have to go to Christmas Eve Mass, even as a little kid. I realized what the feeling of that black velvet blanket was like, and it was so calming and soothing and quiet and peaceful. I didn't want to come back. I kept hearing them racing, and then all of a sudden it got very quiet, and it felt like taking a nap on a day with like a cool breeze coming through the windows in the summer, and it got more and more comfortable for me. My Nana used to wear a black sable coat to church on Christmas. She would take it off, lay it on the pew. She would lay me on top of it, wrap me in it, and she would pet my hair while I would pet the coat. That was the exact feeling of being on the other side.
Wow.
The more comfortable I got and I would feel that stable, it was like, come with us. You know, this is how it can feel. It's always going to be this way. And I kept hearing this woman screaming in my ear, your nails are pretty. I love your rings. And she was starting to slap my hand, and I was getting closer to this side again. And I kept thinking, leave me alone, lady. I really love this nap. It's feeling awesome right now. I just don't want to go with you. And she kept slapping my hand harder and harder. And the IV was in that hand, and it really hurt. And finally, I kind of opened my eyes, and my eyes were fluttering. And I said, get your effing hand off me. And she said, oh my God, are you okay? How do you feel? And I said, let me go. I'm going back. And she said, oh, no, you're not. We're here for the long haul. And she said, we can't use anesthesia. We have to use fentanyl in small amounts. And I said, that's not what's happening. And I started to close my eyes again, and I could hear the beep, and it was getting slower again. And she slapped my face. And I literally slapped back at her. And then I heard beep, 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 beep. And I could see my blood pressure going up. And my heart was starting to race. And she said, we got her back. And I thought, yeah, because you pissed me off. And you're going to get more if you don't leave me alone. And I started to close my eyes again. And I felt something pick me because she was moving the IV around to put the fentanyl in. And they injected like a 20 gauge needle through my back. So they went through my back, in through the tendon, in through the muscle, in through everything. I felt everything. And that really woke me up then. So after that, that's when everything like exploded, because I got really sick in 2016. And that's when things kind of really picked up. But I had a marching band in my pantry that would blare out. I had people walking through my house with no head. I had some mafia dude in my hallway. I had a woman turn the corner. I had someone literally punch at me through my closet and grab me by the ankles and rip me underneath my bed, kick my dog down the stairs. I mean, it was full blast at that point. And when we went to Mexico, my son and I were playing in the ocean so much, and you wash your third eye with sea salt, and that just like opens you. The two of us were like beacons because we both have abilities. And from there, it was like, you're not turning this off, honey. It's wide open for you. And from there, I was like, okay, I've always wanted to help missing people, children, whatever, I'm working with this. I'm going to start like figuring out how to control it, because I never had, my parents despised the fact that I was into this. They wanted nothing to do with it. My mother was an Irish Catholic. My father was an English Protestant. My mother said ghosts didn't exist except for her mother. And the Holy Spirit. And my father never said a word until one day he came to me and said his father sat on his bed. What did he do? Like, what do you do from here? And I'm like, you don't believe, so I'm not going to fill you in on that. You need to work on this yourself. So my son and I, we talked about it, and my son said, I only see demons. Why am I only seeing demons? And I said, because that's your ability. You're to help the people who see the negative. You're supposed to help and get rid of them. So he was afraid and shut it down immediately. And I just kind of went with my own thing, and I learned as much as I could, as fast as I could. And it was just full blast from there.
Wow.
I've learned so much, so fast, paid attention to everything. I've read every single book I possibly could. I started doing readings, and I just go with what I see. I see energy. I feel energy. I've had ascended masters on my ceiling. It's crazy. I mean, for anybody who has anything that happens to them and they don't know who to go to, you can come to me, because I didn't have a mentor and I know what it's like. Go to, Chris and Audra, or, contact someone in your local area if you want to see someone. I've been helping Tammy. Thank you, Tam. I appreciate that. But it's tough. It's really tough when you start having things happen.
Yeah, and it's also tough to, when you've had experiences your whole life, sometimes it's also tough to explain that to somebody that's just opening up.
Yeah. My parents took me to a psychiatrist. I ripped up the checks and I went for pizza.
Wow.
Hey, pizza can be
Therapeutic.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
Whatever
It
works.
really was. Anthony, I can't forget about it. I see it all the time.
Forget about it.
That's awesome.
That's interesting. When you came out of that whole hospital menagerie thing that you experienced, how much of what you described to us now did you recall in the immediate, let's say, 24 to 48 hours, and how much of that came back to you gradually?
It was immediate. I remembered it all. It was so vivid. And I thought, I should have stayed there. I really should have stayed there. It was so peaceful and calm. And when people say I'm scared of death, I'm like, why? It's beautiful. It's like a nap on a sunny, beautiful, warm day with the breeze. And they're like, how are you messed up in the head? I'm like, yeah, I am. But really, it's amazing. It was amazing.
That's interesting too, because if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I had read this, but that was one of the things that differentiated between near-death experience and out-of-body experience, was that there was recall of a lot of things in the immediacy that near-death experiencers had that I think that out-of-body or astral travel experiences did not. And then that's also different from an end-of-life experience, which nobody obviously comes back from, or it wouldn't be an end-of-life experience. But so it's interesting that was your answer, that it was immediate, because that if I remember correctly from what I read, that would be concurrent.
I thought it was weird that they were two totally different death experiences. And I truly believe that they're so different because when I was 15 and I had that experience, I wasn't ready yet. This time, I think that this might have been like my last chance. Like, I don't think I'm coming back. If I die again, I don't think I'm coming back again.
Especially if you want to go.
Right. You're enjoying it so much.
I have done everything I could possibly ever want to do. I've seen everything I would ever want to see. The only thing I can tell you that is different at this point is I love my kids. I love my husband. I couldn't ever love my grandchildren more than I do. And it's so awesome playing with them, watching them grow up. They are so amazing. And knowing that my grandson looks just like my son is like awesome, because it's like watching him grow up all over again. And couldn't tell you how much I would love to get that back again, but now I have it and I can send him home. So adorable, and he's only 3, so I have so much time with him. But like, if things were to end right now, I could truly say that I would be at peace. I'm not afraid of it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny is when I had in 2018, when I had my massive coronary, I had a few people tell me, "Were you afraid you were going to die?" And I said, "I'm not afraid to die. I wasn't ready to go."
Yeah.
Yep.
I was ready. I was really ready to go. Gio says most people are afraid of the unknown because they're afraid of their bad behaviors would be used to judge them. You know what, Gio? I don't regret anything I've ever done in my life, ever, because I could truly say that I think before I act or react, and the things that maybe I did that were bad, I don't use the word bad, I say positive or negative. I've either rehashed them and I'm at peace with what I've done. I think either people had the wrong perception of what I've done to them, because I've never had ill will for anyone. I'm good with myself. I don't have any regrets. I've treated people with respect and kindness. If someone's done something to me and I've retaliated, it was probably the gray witch in me. And they probably deserved it. And I wish them the life they deserve. It's karma.
Yeah.
Yep. Never interfere with somebody else's karma either.
No, when times get tough, you turn to the gray witch. Anthony turns to the sandwich.
Or a cannoli.
Or the salmon. Hi, Giuseppe.
Giuseppe said you can watch Anthony grow now too. He is a big kid.
Don't be afraid of dying, Karen.
No.
It's not like you expect it.
So I bet everybody tuned in to watch some of Maureen's evidence.
They're cool.
They are cool. And I like when people send in pics. So I do share. I do. I'm going to share the screen because that way we can zoom. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night. All right, so I'm going to go to these first. And we can talk during these pics because the audio is not shut off. So explain.
Okay, so we were at a location, and this was seen one day, and this hand was way bigger than my hand and way bigger than my husband's hand. So my husband is 6'4". He is his hands are humongous. They're double my hand. This was slightly bigger than his and much bigger than mine. So we catch this grab, and it's hot. And then we go back to the same location a little bit later, I think it was. And then we go the next day, and the same handprint is there.
It's in a different angle. Did you take the snapshots at the same angle?
Yeah. I mean, like, we were using a FLIR and we ran it over the wall. I think, was that the same day? It's like within minutes of each other.
But this was previous to the last one I showed. This one was at 105. The other one was at 108.
Okay. So
this is their first.
And then there's one the next day during the day.
Right.
And the temperature is lower in the other one by 3 degrees.
Yeah. And then this one's where it's starting to fade. So this is 3 minutes later.
Right. And 3 degrees lower, just about.
Yep. Which is actually pretty slow. Because heat dissipates pretty quickly on a cold surface. And if you can see the dark blue areas, that means that surface is pretty damn cold. And what you're seeing here, can everybody see the little hand I'm moving? That's my mouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's showing up on the screen. So this is actually heat dissipated from this. and you'll see it. And what thermal doesn't show you is that when it dissipates, it's actually hovering above the cold surface behind it. So you can see it here where you can see dimensions in it a little bit.
Yeah.
So that means this heat is dissipating above the cold surface behind it. So this one was 3 minutes later and it's starting to dissipate. So you can actually see it dissolving in the air a little bit there.
Oh wow.
You see it? So this is the dissipation of heat.
And then what is this
And
next
then
one?
151. Is this the same day, Maureen?
That's probably the next day.
The next day in
Yeah,
the
'cause it's the
afternoon.
afternoon.
Yeah, the
And
other
it
one's
was-
AM. This one's PM.
So let me see. Watch this. Oh,
There it is.
there we go.
And it was kind of like skewed.
And warmer again.
Yeah. And if you guys pay really close attention to these thermal pictures, if this was a human hand on a thermal, and this is what. Now, can we 100% say that it's paranormal? No, we weren't there, but Maureen can because her and Todd were there. But what
Anthony
makes
was
this?
there too.
Yeah, Anthony was there too.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't drop a sandwich, did he?
No.
So what makes this really intriguing is these parts here. Because usually when you see a heat signature on a thermal dissipate, it gradually comes back. You won't see different little spots starting to lighten like this. See where it's got holes in the heat signature a little bit, where it's starting to dissipate. So that's kind of intriguing.
It looks spotty.
Yeah.
Did you? Was it always in the same spot? Like when you went the next day, it was in the same spot?
Good question.
It was in the same spot on the same wall, only this time it was kind of like askew.
Yeah.
And it was tested against a human, like living human handprint.
Usually the dead ones won't put their hand on the wall.
Well, not like me.
But
This
yeah.
one did.
This one did. So that's interesting. So I almost wonder if what location was this? Can you say?
I don't think I could say.
Just a private.
Was it a private investigation or was it a publicized
It was private.
Okay. It was a gecko
just a
investigation.
private location? So it almost makes me wonder if this is residual, since it's coming into the same spot every time.
It wasn't in the exact same spot, but it was on the same wall.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes,
Varying
this one's dissipating a little different. See how it's dissipating separately? You still have your hot heat spots and the edges are starting to go away.
Yeah.
That's normal of a thermal. And then you go back to this one. That's not normal characteristics. See how it's breaking up like Swiss cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not normal. Temperature won't dissipate in spots. It'll dissipate gradually. Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's massive. Apparently it's
Yeah.
it's Sasquatchian. And your battery was almost dead too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was bigger than Todd's hand because we've met Todd and he is
Todd's a big dude.
fellow. Yeah.
So Todd's hand is kind of like, how can I do this? Like here
Okay.
on me, and it was like here.
So it was a good 2 to 3 inches longer than Todd's hand, which is impressive.
Yeah.
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 Freaking Andre the Giant. Interesting. All right, so let's look at another one. Let's look
Yeah,
at
the photos are fun.
I love photos.
I do too.
So at first glance, this just looks like two stuffed sheep.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad at all.
I love your puns.
I try.
So the rumor has it your dad was a farmer and he used to play around with the sheep. Is that true? No, not my dad.
Christoph.
Look really close.
Whoa.
This was from the same location, and something told me to turn around and take a picture of this mirror. Roger said they're not sheepish about it.
They're not-
Nah.
Roger.
We should have known Roger would have something.
Do I
Stand
know
by
Roger?
for Everett.
Yeah.
So here's a question, Maureen. So this is a reflection of a picture on the wall behind the mirror, correct?
No,
This square thing here?
that is a mirror.
No, this is the mirror, right? With the white edges?
The thing standing up,
Yes, this is the mirror, correct?
that's the mirror, yes.
And it's a mirror those are two mirrors facing each other.
They're two mirrors facing each other.
Oh,
Oh.
Hello,
This is-
portal.
this is like scribing.
Wow, that's interesting.
No use
Isn't that
scrying
crazy?
with spilled milk.
Yeah, no, you
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That you can't tell you're looking at a mirror with the white frame when you zoomed in,
Right.
but I understood that the thing in the background was a mirror that we're looking at, and then when you pulled back out, you can see, oh, that is a mirror showing what's behind, which is also a mirror.
So this portion is also a mirror.
I thought that was just a picture.
Me
No.
too.
Right, which speaks to the details in the face there a little bit, because there are
This is
Human
from the
face
same
marks.
location as the hand. Every time I got to that spot, I felt like I was going to be sick. And this was totally dizzying for me. And it was just turn around and take a picture. That's what I heard in my head. Turn around and take a picture. And I
Wow.
didn't do this with my camera. My camera was dead. So I had to use Todd's.
So what's really intriguing about this, so if this is a mirror reflecting a mirror, you're not only picking up a form, but you're
There's-
picking up a landscape.
Yep,
Right.
that's what I was gonna say. And it looks like a little house, perhaps something. I don't know. Like that
Uh-huh.
white. I don't know what that white. It looks like a little house, but I could
Yeah.
see the landscape. That's crazy.
There's a second face. I don't just see it.
There's so much weirdness to this. Where did
the first face almost like a shorter haired Mark Twain.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
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 To its, well, our right, there's another.
What's even more intriguing about this is if you look really close, one of the eyes is either closed or not there,
if you look
and
closely
this is like
also
a skull.
yeah, and at the top of the head it looks like there's a bow. I actually believe that this was a lobotomy patient that had gauze wrapped around his head with a bow tied at the top.
Oh, yeah, you can see it here now that you say that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That might explain why that one eye, which would be his right eye, is obfuscated by something else, which could be if there was a bandage over it.
Well, not necessarily because
Also-
sometimes they show
Right, right.
distorted, but
Right, yeah, I'm not
but it
saying
could
that's a
be.
slam
It
dunk, but
could
it's
be.
possible, right? See, Tammy, you said
So-
bandage.
The white part,
that's-
I believe that says lies.
really? Go ahead, zoom.
Zoom. That starts to pixelate.
L-I.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's very interesting. That's
The
crazy.
face is very compelling.
What's intense about this is usually with scrying, you see forms, you see faces, you see apparitions, you see shit that makes you shit. How often do you see a landscape or have heard of anybody that doing a scrying has seen a landscape?
I'll tell you what hit me about that once we realized what we were looking at with a person and a landscape behind it is a lot of the visual ITC, especially that was done in Europe, pioneered by a gentleman named Klaus Schreiber, and they named the method after him, with a video feedback loop, has in certain instances produced what looked like fertile landscapes and trees in a cottage. And one of the pioneers of EVP and direct radio voice, Friedrich Jurgensen, came through on somebody's television on the day that he was being buried 200 and something miles away at people who were friends of his. They turned on their TV and it was all white static noise, just visual snow. And boom, there a distorted version, but very identifiable of his face. So that reminded me of what visual ITC and the feedback loop does, which
Right.
from a visual processing standpoint is not that different, because for people who don't know, The video feedback loop is basically if the camera is facing, let's say that thing there's not a mirror, it's a TV, you put a camera in front of it, and it would be filming the TV or the monitor. And then the output for the camera would be feeding into the monitor that it was shooting at and filming. So you create a feedback loop. And through that, a lot of times you would see images that would develop that would be tantamount to something like that. So this whole mirrors facing mirrors portal concept, to me, gains a little traction with this because that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of right away. Mm-hmm.
Intriguing.
And you know what's fascinating too, because usually when you have a mirror facing a mirror, you'll see the, I guess, I don't know, the loop, whatever it is, you see the mirror. And yes, and you don't see that on there. You don't see that.
That's a great observation. Yeah.
Very interesting. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That is a trip.
That's a really good observation, actually, too, because you don't see any of the echoing of the imagery.
Yeah, you don't see it.
I mean, it would probably be offset a little bit by how far away it may be, but you should see some of it.
You would see some of it. You would see
some of it. Still have to see some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a great crap. Great capture. Great crap. What the hell?
Thank you.
It's been a long day, y'all. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Where was this captured?
My kitchen.
You got somebody standing in your kitchen, girl. Is that your security camera?
It is.
You got a child. I was gonna say you've got a little boy.
It's not a child.
Are you sure?
Really?
I'm positive.
What is it?
So the camera's in the corner of the ceiling, and that's right directly in front of it.
So it's floating in front of the camera?
It's standing in front of the camera.
It does seem to be a downward trajectory of the camera, though. It's not shooting straight across towards the ceiling. Right, but it's above the light. Yep.
You could see the face.
Yeah.
It's got a skeletal face to it. Look at
Kind of.
It does look like a child, but it also kind of looks like an alien.
Yes.
Correct. Remember what we talked about that was in my hallway?
Yes.
That's what it is.
But it almost looks like it's wearing a hat of some sort or something. I don't know.
I think it's just a really large bulbous head. It's definitely alien-like.
kind of like Anthony Simonelli.
Poor Anthony.
I keep getting aliens in my house.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is different than the other ones, though. The other ones were small. There were like two together.
You can almost see where it's almost in motion, too.
Well, I sent you that other picture, and it was like next to that one.
So that's this one.
Yes. The dog's staring at it, not barking, not doing anything.
Oh, that looks like it's going a separate direction. What the hell's happening there?
It's not even the same type of thing. It looks like a worm-like thing.
Yeah, right here.
Or
it's hovering over there. It's like it's drinking the dog's water.
Yeah, so let me toggle back. So see the dog's bowl here, everybody? See the chandelier?
There's like two bowls next to each other.
Let's go back to the other picture. See the dog's bowl in the water dish?
Yeah.
And then the chandelier. So if we go back to this picture, whatever's there is blocking those out.
Yeah.
And it has like these dots down its spine or something.
Yeah.
It's a mermaid.
It kind of reminded me of what, and you could see like an arm with
arm right there, and then another arm right there.
So there may have been two things there.
I was going to say,
it looks like there's one here, and there's one here bent over, and this is its ass, is what it looks like to me.
It might be the cat.
And the dog's going, look at that ass.
Yeah.
Oh, doing in the dog food. We had that.
Whoa! Hang on a minute.
What?
Hang on a minute. Let's go back to this picture.
Uh-oh.
So answer me this.
Situational awareness
Yes.
is about to strike.
See
What?
how this door opens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Is it opening the door?
Or it's
It
reaching
sure
on
is.
the shelf above it. It looks like it's reaching onto the shelf above it, maybe.
Yeah, like it's looking for something. It
Well,
does
there's-
kind of look like a mermaid.
There's actually liquor in there.
They know what they were doing.
You give your
They're going for the good stuff.
you give your dogs liquor.
No, that's just like a cabinet where we keep liquor and tea and coffee because the Keurig's on top of that. It's a microwave cart.
Okay. So I want to point something out in this picture really closely to everybody that so a lot of people say, well, maybe it's a spider or maybe it's a cobweb in front of the security camera.
I cleaned it off.
Well, other than that, the distance from the camera. So if this was in front of the camera, it would be closer to this area here and it would be more distorted. This is clearly right in front of the bowl. And if it was like a cobweb or a bug floating in front and walking across the surface of the camera, anybody that's ever seen footage like that, you can actually see through the bug. You can see through the cobweb.
That's what I was
You
gonna
can't
say.
see
Yeah.
through this. Yeah.
No, it's blocking it. Yep.
It's actually blocking everything behind it.
And I
Mhm.
cleaned off the camera and there was nothing there. And this happened a couple of nights in a row.
And what's the biggest indicator in this picture?
The dog stunned.
The
Well, he's
dog's
stuck anyway.
looking right at it.
He is looking right at it. He is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert on arachnids, but I personally would not have looked at that and thought spider or spider web
Nope.
at all. I don't know if I would have come to mermaid, but it definitely looks like doesn't look like a human, that's for sure. And if it does, that human could enter a limbo contest because that's pretty compromising right there. But
No.
I would not have thought spider.
It kind of looks like Slimer.
It does.
A
It
little
does.
bit. This one does down here.
Yeah.
So how did you catch this, Maureen? Did you were scanning through it and found it, or did it alert you?
Every once in a while I check the cameras because I check to find out where the animals are, if they're quiet, because they're not ever quiet. And it was quiet. And I checked the kitchen camera and I kept seeing this thing go like this in front of the camera. And then all of a sudden it would stand up and like get right in front of the camera and turn and look. And I was like, what the fuck? And then
So it was doing this.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think somebody asked a question about whether the eyes are close to the sides of the head. They're actually right in the front, and its mouth is wide open. So
there.
it definitely looks like a gray, but it looks like it has hollowed out eyes. It definitely looks more like it's the X-ray of an alien.
It does.
Yeah.
So that happened one night. Then I went and I cleaned out like around the camera and I was dusting and everything. And there was nothing there. There were no cobwebs because I did it when it was really super sunny because the sun comes through that part of the kitchen around 4:00 because it rises on the front of the house and that's the back of the house. And I made sure to like clean everything up. There was nothing there. The next night, I'm not a sleeper. I don't sleep at night. I'm waiting, and there it is again. And it just like unfolded itself and stood straight up and then looked at the camera and turned. And I was like, holy shit, there it is again.
Yeah, if you look really close, it looks like it's reaching for something on the shelf.
Yeah.
Probably the vodka.
See this? That's what I read.
Still their UAP. There goes my Bloody Mary. Like,
Eat
But
the dog's food, drink the dog's water, don't touch the
I
vodka.
know.
but it's
Right.
weird because that started things. Then in February, my husband came home. He's a police officer for the federal government. He comes in the house he put on this lock like they have at hotels, and there's like a ball, and you put the lock into it, and it slides across.
Mm-hmm.
And then he locks the door. He sits down on the couch. He's eating a snack. All the dogs are sitting with him. Dogs don't go crazy, but all of a sudden he said it felt freezing cold. He got up. He went to look at the door. The door is wide open. He said when he got up to look, he saw a shadow figure dart up the stairs. I was sleeping at the time. Of course, he just looks. He doesn't come to see if I'm okay. He goes back, closes the door, locks it, locks the other thing, goes back to his snack. Men are food driven. So I'm upstairs, probably, being eaten by the alien, but he sits down on the couch and he said that he really thought about it and was like, did I actually see that? I'm really overtired. I've done, a 13-hour shift, blah, blah, blah. So a couple weeks later or whatever, I sleep face down with my hands in the pillows. And in my head, while I was sleeping, I hear padded feet. Like what sounded like somebody walking up the stairs with socks on. It was in my head while I was sleeping, which woke me up, and I went like this. And I could see the hallway at the top of the stairs from our doorway. And I finished hearing what was walking and turned the corner, looking in the bedroom. There was a 3-foot and a 2-foot figure that were kind of not fully translucent, but not fully solid beings. And they had like that fingerling edge to it. And they were like pinkish. And I heard, healing you.
Shaped like that?
No.
Healing you or feeling you?
Healing you. And it sounded like very, not robotic, but like
a voice synthesizer.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So it had pink to it. And I know that pink is like psychic ability type things. So I was hearing it here, not here. And they were standing in the hallway. It looked like, if you didn't know better, it could have been like little kids. But we don't have little kids in the house. And because the edges were kind of like an oil slick pink, and it was kind of like frazzled and frayed edges, it was definitely something interdimensional or whatever.
Were you the only one that saw those two standing there at that time?
Yeah, Todd was still sleeping.
Okay. Because I actually wanted to point something out if I could, because you guys told that story together and Todd told a lot of it. And for people, I'm going to use Chris's line, if you're paying close attention, officer of the law for the government. So credible, especially with regard to observation and integrity and truth. And he's a really, really cool guy. We love Todd. The story is almost verbatim when he told it as when you just told it, other than the fact, which is why I asked if he had also seen those two figures. But the rest of that story, how you described it, was pretty much how he described it when we saw him.
Yeah. He's definitely, he's a skeptic, and he will try to debunk stuff first. And I am as well, because I'm very scientific and analytical and logical, and I'll try to debunk something before I'm like, it's ghosts, it's aliens, it's whatever. But the fact that I heard in my head that woke me up those padded feet, and Gio, the mind sound did have the sound of like padded feet, like if somebody was wearing socks and was walking up the stairs quietly, and they were like little tiny feet. The weirdness of what these things looked like to me, I can't even describe. Like, I could draw it. They looked like little kids holding hands, but the way they looked on the edges and the color of them and how they were translucent but still kind of solid, it was really strange to me. And all of this stuff happens around the same time for me. Like, my mom was sitting on my bed after she passed away. I've had her sit on my bed about a week before she passed, but she was like a hologram. I've smelled things. It's all bizarre, but like the fact that all of this stuff kind of clings to me and I'm like a beacon to all of it, I think it's because I am so open-minded, and I have, like, if you have anesthesia, if you've crossed over, if you are open-minded, if you have had near-death experiences, which I've had many, I've had out-of-body experiences because I have astral projected. I've, like, it sucks when you can't get to that point and you do that. Oh. And you give yourself a total heart attack. But like trying it, they say that all of those things, you clip those like silver strands that connect you to the heavens and to the earth so many times that you just keep getting closer and closer and closer to all of those things. I think that makes you more like subjected to all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting because I've had anesthesia a whole bunch of times. Like a whole bunch of times. Huh?
My son was laying in his room the one day and he goes, Mom, Mom, Mom. And I come flying in and I'm thinking that he's being murdered. But, you know, a kid that continues to play his video game is not being murdered. He goes, my snowboarding hat was just thrown out of the closet, literally thrown. And the strands to it were connected and wrapped in this weird, like, sequence to something. It was literally like it was braided in a weird pattern, and he didn't do this because he wouldn't get out of bed to do something like this. He'd stay. And his closet used to throw stuff at him. It was like there was a portal or a veil or something in his closet that used to throw shit at him all the time.
Get up! Get up!
Maybe if you weren't
Imagine this. You're sitting there playing Call of Duty, and all of a sudden shit starts getting thrown at you out of the closet.
Well, he's
Wow, this is vivid.
definitely lazy. If they have a 70-inch screen TV to play video games there, and then they have one side by side that's like 40, and they're back and forth with their Xbox. Like,
Good Lord. Sounds like
that's
that
when you need a hobby besides. Ron, you would have loved that setup, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
But-
have your last pick. I like this one.
This
So
one's
it's
great.
actually two. One's a zoomed in. So
Yeah.
this is your daughter, correct?
That's Izzy, yeah.
Oh, she's
Aw.
beautiful.
Coconut.
Oh, puppies.
It's so cute.
So where is this?
Muscle butt.
Set the
This
stage.
one is in Sleepy Hollow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And what is the building behind her?
You know what? I really don't know. I'll have to ask Todd. But
It's a
you'll know
holiday inn.
Holiday Inn.
Holiday.
Holiday Inn.
There's a figure to her left.
Yeah.
And
Oh, look at that. What?
so
What the?
this figure was walking. However, when you zoom in or go to the next, so you would think that looks solid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go to the next picture,
That is.
Oh,
That's-
wow. And did you guys see it with your own eyes at the time, or?
so Todd saw it and he thought that it was a woman walking, and he took the picture.
That's a big bitch. Sorry, y'all, but that's a woman walking. That's a big bitch, Todd.
Oh, Christoph, don't get too technical.
So, okay. So in the first picture, is the figure facing forward and then it
That's what I
turned?
thought. Yep.
In the
So
second picture?
he took these pictures simultaneously, like one after another. So she's
So
still
this was the
walking
first
same
picture.
way.
He saw the figure.
And he thought that it was like a reenactment kind of thing.
Okay, so
And he's
let's
got- I
Let's
think
give
that
it some
there
perspective.
wasn't a reflection because she was too far up the hill and there was like a bump.
so let me
Hey.
teach you guys what I do when I look at stuff.
Hey,
Okay.
Chris,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything because I know you're getting ready to dive into something, but I'm looking for something for you to say because I'm noticing it, and there's no way if I'm seeing this, you're not seeing it. But go ahead.
Chris,
Well, now you stumped them.
Now I'm looking at other shit.
Oh,
well, what are you going to mention? Maybe that was it, whatever you were going to mention.
you want me to say it?
Yeah, say it.
The bush or that little limb
trees
of a
are
tree
reflective.
thing, right? That thing is reflected into the water. The tree behind that is reflected into the water. That white thing is not reflected into the water.
Yes.
But it's true, but and I know that it's kind of hard with the distance and perception, but it may be because she's further behind the.
Yeah.
But the tree is further behind than that. The bigger
No, I
tree,
think-
if you zoom out,
This
What
is
bigger
close to the water.
But that's because it's higher.
She's taller than the tree.
But he's got a very valid point. The top ridge of this right here is reflecting right here.
right?
Yeah.
So even if
But
the
how far
reflection,
back is
even
that?
if this reflection of this wouldn't have gotten captured in the water, the top, at least the head of it, would have been reflected somewhere down here. And here's why. Let's go to the next picture.
That's what I thought you were going to say because I looked at that and went, "Wait a
I
minute,
was,
everything."
I was leading to that. There's a ton of stuff in here. See the sign?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that shows.
The sign's in the water. The trees are in the water.
Yeah.
So if you look really close at the way this tree comes down and it curves like this, and it comes down and it curves and it bends
So that
all the way down,
It does. That's true.
it does
Yeah.
here.
It does.
So Ron's
Yeah.
absolutely right. This should be reflecting in the
Yeah.
water.
It sure does. Yep. Yep.
And yeah, I was going to get to that portion, but I was going to start with
I knew you were. As soon as I saw them, there's no way he didn't see that.
what I was going to start with is let's go to this picture. So see the top of this building?
Yeah,
So back then, the top of this building would have been easily 6 foot tall,
Yeah.
approximately the same height because this is an incline. See the incline on the
Women
ground?
weren't that tall. Even men weren't that tall back then.
No.
some of us
Let's
aren't that tall now.
Let's go back to this
You're
picture.
right.
So this door frame here would have been at least 6 foot back in those days, right?
Right. But
If
it's
you
elevated
look
though,
at
right?
the
It's not
size
ground level.
here, so if you took this and moved it over here and placed it on this platform, this
Right.
thing is the height of that door.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
is she
possibly.
floating then? She could be
Could
floating.
be.
She could be.
I mean,
floating.
she could be because you can't see her feet, so you really don't know.
So this
I'm not
thing is
even sure that I know if it's a him or a her. It's
It could be anything.
It's an
Could be
apparition.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's known that there is a lady in white in Sleepy Hollow, but doesn't mean that it's a lady.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
And I've
But then
taken
you were absolutely right, Ron. I was moving this direction of where you can see the reflection in the water. You can see the reflection of here. You can see the reflection of the tree coming all the way down. You can see the actual extra portion of the tree over here coming down, which is right next to this. But there's no reflection of it here.
Yeah, like you could see where that little arch greenery thing is to the right. That thing, if you go to the base of that, you could see the edge of where the ground is, which would be the feet of the apparition. But I would think there would be some presence of that on the water if it was something that had mass.
Yeah, and so let me teach you guys how I analyze stuff. So this door is approximately 6 foot tall. So if I were to clip this door out of this picture and place it here, that tells me that this incline from the top of the grass down to the edge of the water is approximately 6.5 to 7 feet, because the door would probably end somewhere along this shale ledge right here at the top, right? So that tells me this is about 7 feet. And this is what I do when I pick stuff apart. I take something of nominal size that I know the approximate size of, and if I were to place it somewhere over here, how much space would this give me? So this will give me an approximate distance of how much it is from the grass to the edge of the water. So from the grass to the edge of water is approximately 6.5, 7 feet, because if I place this 6 foot door flat here, it wouldn't be quite as long as from the grass to the edge of the water. So that gives me an idea that this is about 7 to 7.5 feet. Then I take the size of this door and I pull it over here and I stand it here. Tells me that figure is approximately the same height as that door. So when you're looking at situations and you're trying to judge heights of things and heights of differences, that's what you do is you look at what's around you, something that you can take that you know approximate height of it is, and judge the height of what you see compared to the heights of other things. And you can give an approximate height that's about 6 foot tall.
And can you zoom in on that more?
On this?
Yeah. See, the other thing too is that it doesn't have. It's luminous, so you're not really able to see through it. It's not as translucent as it is self-illuminating.
Right.
But I don't see. Let's play devil's advocate, right? This is a staged picture, and there's something there holding a sheet or whatever somebody wants to think. I can't even see the skeletal structure of something inside of it that would be doing that.
No.
It's not.
But what's weird, when you pull the picture back out and make it larger, you can kind of almost see through the head. When you pull it closer, it becomes more solid.
Yeah. Well, what's even more intriguing is, so you look at the second picture that Todd took. See the ripples in the gown?
Yeah.
They're almost translucent.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then you go back to the first picture. There's no ripples. There's a few ripples, but they don't match the ripples in the second picture, which tells me it's in motion.
It's a cool picture. It really is.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Like, no matter where we go, we take pictures and stuff is in all of them.
So Scott Reddick pointed something out too that I didn't catch. Way to go, Scott. See the pumpkins up here?
Yes.
That look like freaking
Pumpkins
people.
or tomatoes? I don't know.
What the
Tomato.
Okay, so this is a scarecrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the reflection in the water here.
Yep, you sure
But
can.
this is not. And these are much further back, creating a bigger distance. You can see the orange here.
They are
This is
taller.
closer to the water's edge. This should be reflecting.
At least part of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice job by Scott and
Yeah.
Piedmont.
Well,
Nice
and here's another thing. This is why I love pictures. If you go to the bottom of the stairs go all the way down to the top of the wall. You can see the reflection of the top of the wall.
Yep.
If the bottom of the stairs and the top of the wall are reflecting in the water, this should be also.
Right. That's what I thought. Just with the little twiggy thing that's next to it, whatever you call it.
Twiggy thing.
It's a stickboard.
It's not. It's a distance back, but it's not a distance back far enough that it shouldn't be reflecting in the water.
Right.
And it does look like
we-
you that said it, one picture or run. One picture looks like it's facing, like this one looks like it's facing the camera, and the other one looks like it's away. Yeah.
I noticed that also, but I didn't. Yeah, she's right. That's what I thought too.
Oh
yeah.
You can
the
see
impression of a face going this way, or characteristics of, and then the other way you don't see those same.
No, it looks
Oh yeah, and if you look really close, this almost looks like the front of the robe, and it's like turned.
That might be why the ripples don't match, Chris, because it turned.
Yep.
It's like it's looking at you now, and then in the second picture,
It's walking away.
it turned away.
Yeah. 'cause
You're
it's
absolutely right.
Here.
You are absolutely right.
Yep.
Because these are back ripples as
Yeah.
it's moving, and then that is the front.
Yeah, that's what it looks
It
like.
appears like it.
That's what it looks like.
So it was turned towards you when you took this picture, and then when Todd snapped the second picture, it turned away.
Yeah. So I'm out.
Catch.
It's like, oh shit, yep, I'm gone.
Nice.
Ain't nobody catching me in my robe.
Well, you got caught.
You know what happens when you go to the outhouse in your robe? You get caught in a photo.
I love that. I love that for it's so good, and we analyzed the living crap out of it. I think we would have stumbled upon some level of fault or flaw in this if we could have found any, but it seems to defy all of those possibilities. And what I love about this too, and so I'm almost done with book 4, and I have a chapter that's called "We Win or Lose by Knockout," which is if you ever, I was in the fight industry for a long time, and you always hear you have to beat the champion convincingly. You got to knock him out, which is not true, because in a race, if you win by a smidge, you win. But there's this perception that you have to win so convincingly, right? And we're trying to convince people with paranormality, we have to really knock them out and show them, like, this is legit. But there's a threshold to that, because when it becomes really, really good of this kind of magnitude, let's say on a photo, then they start thinking maybe it's not real, maybe it's been hoaxed, maybe it's been staged. So they want you to get to a certain hurdle to jump over to prove it to them. But if you do that, then they go, nah, you're just faking it. So it's for the people who don't have an open mind to this stuff, this is a lose-lose situation because it's that good.
Yeah, because when you first look at it, you can think, that's someone wearing a sheet over, right? It's someone walking with a sheet over them,
right.
But there's no reflection in the water. So there it is.
Yeah.
We didn't go, Mr. Yacovetti.
But that, I mean, because to me, because I think it's an unfair standard that we get held to with paranormal evidence, is it's got to be really convincing. You got to really prove it to me. And then you prove it to them, they go, nah, you're probably faking it. That's too real. Wait, what? So there's no winning. So there's no winning with those people. So automatically that whole peer group out, not part of the study, not part of the review, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
I would take the analytics of what was discussed here, especially with people like Chris and Audra and Lourdes reviewing something like this, Maureen as well. But I mean, people sometimes feel like if you're close to the capture, if you caught it. But I mean, Scott Riddick, same thing. Like so many of the comments that have come in on this, I don't know if I wanted to try to pick this apart and find proof it's not legit. I don't know where I would start. Now photos are not my forte, but I don't see the low-hanging fruit to debunk this. I don't.
No, I don't either.
We don't go on vacation and like take these huge cameras with us and, talk to somebody and say, hey, do you mind posing over there and putting this burial shroud over yourself and turn this way? And like, we don't have time for that crap. We're on vacation. We just happen to be people who are empaths and we have abilities and we're psychic mediums. And, it just, they're drawn to us. We can't help that. Everywhere I've ever gone, like Eastern State Pen, I have guards standing down the sides of a hallway and they disappear at the knees. They're standing there staring at me. Their heads are turned and they're in full dress. Like, I can't plan that. I can't get uniforms from that era. Like, you just can't stage these things,
Well, here's what's even more awesome. Let me teach you guys a little bit about construction. Teachable moment here. So this building was built somewhere in the late 1600s to early 1700s. And let me tell you how I know that. This was a hand-built building. You can tell, right? But the most intriguing part of it is there's no straight edges, okay? This appears to be straight. This is not straight, okay? But what gives it away the most is how the windows and doors are lined up. And let me tell you why.
They're not lined up.
They're not lined up.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
So in the late 1700s, when they had windows and doors and stuff like this, they went, wait a minute, this stuff doesn't look right. It's not lined up. So when I'm standing in this room on the second floor, my window's at my shin, at my thigh. When I'm standing on this on the second floor, the damn thing's at my chest. How do we correct that? So what they started doing is they started using string or like rope so they could line it up. So they would tie a rope. I'm pointing. You guys can't see that. So they would tie a rope like over here, or somebody would hold the rope over here, and they would line it across, and they would mark the brick as they went up. This is where we started our window, so this is where our window needed to be. That was in the early 1700s. By the late 1700s, they figured out how to use levels, and they would hand make levels. So by the early 1800s, you started seeing shit line up better. So this tells me this is a late 1600 to an early 1700 building because nothing lines up. So this was all done by hand.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. And for people watching who don't think or understand how critical that kind of review is with paranormal stuff, you're sadly mistaken if you don't see it. It's important because the more you can speak to the environment of something you capture when something's not supposed to be in that environment, the more knowledgeable of the surroundings and the more vetted what you have can be. that's an interesting observation. I would not, looking at that, have known anything more than that it was old. It looked like an old structure. I could have guessed at the era, but I would have never been able to determine to that specificity based on the construction of it. That's fascinating.
Here's another
Maureen,
that you.
your daughter looks like you, by the way.
She does?
Yeah, I think so.
She's my stepdaughter.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
People have asked.
She doesn't look like your husband.
You know what I really love about the picture? The meoweline.
Oh.
Cat. We love cats. The other way, this is how I kind of find things within pictures. I will look at a picture, and wherever my eyes seem to go first, and this is not because of light or dark or, you know, whatever stands out with because of a color, wherever my eyes seem to go first in a picture, it's because there's energy there. And then I will, a lot of people don't know this, but negatives obviously see spirits in them, and we don't really use negatives any longer, but you can play around with the filters in your phone and change, you know, to like the lolly filter or the black and white filter. And if you change that and then you change some things around, like the light setting or the filter or the you know, whatever you have in your phone, some people have better phones and they have different options, but I've noticed one day I was just sitting thinking, like, why am I not seeing things in my phone? I know that there's something there because I could feel the energy there. And I just changed it to like black and white. And then I changed some things in the setting, and there's this person staring back at me that wasn't in the regular picture. And I was like, I never thought about this before, and I really should have, because they're in negatives. But it's not always just black and white. You can change, because spirits in the spiritual world, they are typically in like a purple part of the spectrum. That's the psychic part. Change it to purple, you know, play around with the settings a little bit, and you will find things that you never thought you would, and, you know, go through the whole thing and blow it up some and move it around. It's amazing what you'll find.
Good to know.
We have got one more really awesome piece of audio evidence, and this was done at one of your friends' private houses.
Correct. She said that she thought that there was a demon in her house. I don't want to laugh at her, but she was really terrified because she has little kids. But it was awesome to sit with her and her mom, and it turned out to be a really amazing surprise, and she was super happy.
So this is about a 3-minute video. And guys, Maureen sent me the audio on this, and I went through it, and I tried to pick out everything that I heard. There might be more in here that you guys might hear, but here we go.
Did you say 3? Yes. How many male spirits are with us? Are there any children here? Is there someone here that's pretending to be a child? That was so good. On my knees. Why are you pretending to be a child? Why are you pretending to be a child? Are you doing it because you're malevolent? No. Are you doing it because you don't want to scare anyone? Are you doing it because you want to play with the kids?
Yeah, we're back. There we go.
He did.
Oh,
Oh,
Aw.
that was cool. I liked the one spot when she asked if it was pretending to be a child or something, and it was as if two of them were there and one of them forgot the plan. Are you pretending to be a child? Yes. No.
Don't tell her that, damn it.
Well, there was so when I went in, this was not the first time I was there. And I think I've already told Chris. So you had met these guys when we were out at the bash on the deck. They had recently gotten married. I was actually the one that performed their ceremony. They have two little kids. They're like 3 and 2. And these ghosts or spirits or whatever you want to call them, they visit the kids at night and the kids cry. So I went in and the questions I was asking were like, I would ask a question and then psychically I would get a question to ask again. So that's why I was getting those particular questions, which was really weird. So later I got the name April. So I went with the dowsing rods and I was asking, is your name, and I'm going to ask you to spell it out with the dowsing rods. And I said, does it start with the letter A? And it crossed. And her mom and her like lost it. So I went all the way to the letter P and it crossed. And they were just like, you know how we are when we get something and we're like, oh my God, you know, that's how they were. So the other spirit that was there was the husband's grandfather. And when he found out, he was bawling his eyes out. He was so excited that that's who it was. So the April person lived in the area and she committed suicide. And you're not coming into this. She committed suicide and she was the one that was the no, where the grandfather was yes. So he was the one trying to play with the kids. And his wife also was there. Ass end always. It was the ass end of everything. So it was really cool because I said, who is, and I don't remember the name that came up. I think it was like Carolyn or Caroline or something. And they were like, oh my God, that's his wife. So she was there also. Wow. It was like him, the wife, and then this April. So I said, we need to get rid of April. She shouldn't be here. We need to cross her over, especially since the kids are afraid. They never had a problem after that.
Good.
That's awesome.
So that was really, really cool. But it was really awesome to like do that with them. And it was cool to use like the dowsing rods, to use the SB7. And they were hearing the answers. Like I said, it's really hard for me to use the SB7 because of the dysautonomia, because my senses are heightened. I have to literally go away and not pay attention for me to hear the answers. But the mom was like, it said blah, blah, blah. It said this, it said this, it said this. And I was like, okay, so you listen, you tell me what it says, and I'll be the one that like plays psychic medium. So I'll be the psychic medium, you be the translator, you think about what you want to know. And then we kind of just did it like that. And it was like about an hour. I did the walkthrough again. And then we did like a half an hour of that. And they did.
I heard the word help twice in there.
I think that was April. Yeah, Anthony said he heard Maureen. So I think that the grandfather was familiar with me because, I mean, I go to visit, and the child's voice that said hi, that was actually the baby. I think that one of them is kind of familiar. So she's okay. The other one is not okay. She doesn't want the connection. She's afraid. I mean, they're kind of shy kids, and that's okay. They don't have to be okay with that. They should be able to have their room to themselves, and everyone plays with whatever comes into the room. So, we did a whole thing where we like blessed the room and blessed the house, and we, I asked her what she wanted to have happen, and she said, I want them to feel comfortable. And I talked to the spirits. I told April she needed to go. That's not her house, and she needed to move on. And then I spoke with the grandfather and his wife, and I said, you just need to give them space, and they'll, when they're ready to play, they'll let you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that was
That's
some
really
good
cool.
stuff.
You know what? Despite all this Staticom and direct radio voice stuff too, she knows too. I never, even from the beginning when I first started with anything ITC, I never was one of those turn off that noise. Like, I like the sound of a sweeping ghost box. I do. It's just, I guess because also I have a music background with drums, so it's rhythmic. It's white noise. I don't know. I like listening to that clip. To me, was kind of like peaceful. I enjoyed it. And absolutely, we have boxes. I love how they sound. I love how they work. That was really cool to hear some of that stuff come out of that, because we don't listen to it as much as we used to.
No.
So when you get a clip like that and it's got stuff in it, that's really cool.
Yeah, well, I can send you all of it. There's like a half an hour for you to
It'll put Ron right to sleep.
Yeah.
I'll listen to it. You can send it to Anthony too. Anthony actually watched over an hour of footage of a doorknob waiting for a door to open.
I know. That was Hinsdale, right?
No,
the Ritz
Theater in South Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
He recorded a doorknob for an hour and watched it.
All right, Maureen, we have come to the part of the show. You've done it already, but do it again. For some shameless plug. Tell everybody where they can find you, what you got coming up, what's the name of the show, what night it's on.
Who's on Thursday?
All right, so TikTok, I haven't really done a lot with until just recently. However, I think I'm a Lil Witchy 5. Thanks, Jenny. You're awesome too. I love you. I'm on Facebook under Maureen Grudzinski. I am also on Facebook as A Lil Witchy. I'm also on Dimensions of the Supernatural with my great co-host Anthony Simonelli. When he knows where he's at on Thursday nights, 8 to 9:30 East Coast time. I'm also doing Dimensions of the Supernatural with BB3 TV and the UGG Media, and that's in the UK. So I don't know what time it is over there. It's probably like 3 days later. I'm on Instagram as A Lil Witchy. I don't know if there's like I don't know. There's an _1 with something and not with another. I am also on, Instagram and TikTok and the X. I don't know. Is that still Twitter or is it X?
It's the X Twitter.
Yeah.
Shows up as X and I get confused and I think that something happened. But you can find me at my website. It's www.alilwitchy.com. And you can do anything there, or you can email me at alilwitchy at yahoo.com. Let's see what's coming up. So I have a production company already called Dream Evolutions Production Company. So I think we're scrapping that. We're just starting from scratch. Everyone will know about that once Anthony and I speak with Tammy. We will be doing our own show. And, I was a reenactor in Deathwalker with Nick Groff and Dan Clace. That will be season 4.
Nice.
Some season.
Yeah, season 4 was a good season.
That's the way. I don't know. I mean, like, there's lots of stuff.
And Thursday
night.
who was your guest on
Live from Wonderland. Live from Wonderland.
Live from Wonderland.
People over. Shit, I hate this.
It's confusing.
I never get it right.
Confusing.
I never get it right the
Me
first
neither.
time.
You see?
It's the opposite of what you think it is.
Yeah.
Those two hot-looking people over there, and we will be talking about some fun topics and great stuff. I don't know. There's always good stuff happening, and we never know what the future holds.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, we know what Thursday holds, and I'm telling people watching now, tune in. You guys go live, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah,
show
somebody has to go to the bathroom before it starts, and it's usually like
Right.
7:32.
It happens.
Shit
It
does
happens.
happen. Usually
Right,
7:30.
7:30 Eastern Time on Thursday. Dimensions of the Supernatural. You guys it's a great show. And I encourage people not only to come to watch and support you guys, because you have fantastic guests on every week, and it is a lot of fun and an informative show. And really, if you've seen Chris and Audra only on our show where they're in the interviewer driver seat and not the interviewees, you should really watch, because I think that this is an opportunity to get to know two of the finest investigators and people in the field. So that's a chance to see them on the other end of the questions. And Chris can still observe things, but he's not going to be asking the questions.
But he will share a lot of knowledge.
I'll share what I
I
can.
always say that he knows more about everything and everything than anybody I know. Even you, Ron. You've been like spouting off all the stuff.
Well, we have our little pockets of specificity that we study in, and I think that's what's cool. Like in a best case scenario, we're in a location with someone with your intuition, with the listening skills and abilities and sensitivities that Chris and Audra have, the technical prowess of what Tony and Cherie bring to it, and what we do with them collectively with ITC stuff. That is unity from a data point of view. There's so many measurable things where you can draw lines that are corroborative between the different things that we do. That's awesome. That is awesome. It's not competitive, it's collective.
Yeah.
And so I think that this Thursday night, people should watch, and they should enjoy what is a good show, and then make that part of their Thursday night and do it weekly. Anthony is always amusing. Maureen is always entertaining.
Thank
Yes.
And then Chris and Audra will be a show that you will not want to miss.
Dang.
Dang.
What do we have to do for Thursday?
Yeah, no shit. I'm gonna
Yeah, Chris is going to have to light his genitals on fire.
We all
light my
need to get
genitals on
together.
fire and wear a tux.
We all need to get together and explore and investigate. I
Yes,
think
we do.
when you really truly respect people, have fun with them, and they all have great skills, it's nothing but a blast.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we went with Ron and Lourdes to the Shanley, it was awesome. I mean, we didn't even really get a whole lot of time to truly investigate, but it was an amazing time, and we missed you guys.
That would have been nice.
That would have been.
Yeah, we got to get them up here. We have to get them
Yep.
up this way.
We will get up there soon.
Or we'll get down there.
That's true.
We'll do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Montgomery House is no joke, yo.
Oh yeah, you would love it more.
I would. I love history, so anything like old and you can creep around into little nooks and crannies, that's my deal.
It had those.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us again tonight. All great people all the time. Always joining us to watch every week. We appreciate you guys coming out, and we appreciate those that came out new tonight to support Maureen and listen to what she had to say and show her great evidence.
Yep.
Great, phenomenal people on the podcast tonight, guys. Unfortunately, we were missing two great ones too, but they will be back with us next week. Same time, same channel, same hosts. Sorry. Guys, we love doing what we're doing. We love the people that we do it with, including Maureen. She's an awesome person, and her husband Tom's a great person. Make sure you guys tune into her show on Thursdays, Dimensions of the Supernatural with Mr. Simonelli. How you doing? Forget about it. Sandwich guy. Don't forget to tune into that. And guys, don't forget to tune into us next week where we'll have another great guest with some great evidence to show. You don't have to come here to be haunted, but if you're going to watch us, you got to stay haunted. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Good night.
Night.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?